Tell me, how heavy is the weight you carry when no one has touched you, when no one has struck you, when no one has chained you, yet you feel trapped, suffocating, imprisoned? Look closer. Look inside. What do you see? You see yourself clinging. You see your mind, your heart, your body, your every fleeting thought, tied to illusions, entangled in attachments, shackled not by iron but by desire, fear, expectation, and ego. You think there is a cage outside, yet it is here, within, invisible yet heavier than stone, pressing on your chest, whispering lies that you must obey, that you must reach, that you must become. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. But do you realize the gravity of what it means to truly command yourself, to cut the invisible cords that bind you to every fleeting pleasure, every imagined insult, every shadow of what could be? You have made comfort your companion, distraction your armor, and the approval of others your sustenance, and now you wander in chains of your own forging, wondering why the air feels thin, why each step feels labored, why satisfaction is fleeting, why fear whispers in the dark. Epictetus would confront you now, would stand over you, unflinching, and demand truth. Is it not madness to hand your freedom to that which is outside your control, to tremble for what the world may do when your power lies entirely within your grasp? Imagine for a moment, stripped of pretense, stripped of ego, stripped of all external validation, standing alone in the void of your own mind. What remains? Only thought, only choice, only the quiet, piercing awareness that nothing, not wealth, not love, not fame, not comfort, not pain, not insult can harm you unless you give it entry. And yet, here you are, whispering to yourself that you are stuck, that life is against you, that others hold your fate in their hands. Look closer. You clutch the past as if it were a lifeline, and the future as if it were a promise. Seneca would lean close, his voice cutting, calm, implacable, and remind you, we are always complaining that our days are few, yet we waste them in attachment to what we cannot hold, in fear of losing what was never ours. Your attachment you need to hold, to keep, to control, to matter is the true prison. The mind that surrenders to it cannot see the chains. The heart that clings cannot feel the freedom that is already present, always present, waiting for the courage to let go. Think of it. Every moment spent craving, fearing, resisting is a moment of your life stolen by shadows. Every thought you allow to dwell in anger, every wish to possess, every longing for what is not, ties you tighter, pulls you deeper, buries you beneath illusions. You are an emperor of your own suffering, a general of your own distraction, a prisoner of your own desire. And yet, still you hesitate, still you clutch, still you whisper to yourself, I cannot release this. I cannot survive without it. Survival is already yours. Freedom is already yours. Nothing outside of you can bind you more than you allow. And here, in the quiet cruelty of this truth, you feel the weight, the unbearable clarity that your chains were never forged from others, only from your own hands, clasped tightly, refusing to let go. See it, feel it. The mind that fights, the heart that fears, the soul that trembles, all of it stems from one invisible, persistent lie that comfort, certainty, and permanence exist outside of you. They do not. They have never existed. And so your attachments, your clinging, your obsession with outcomes, with reputation, with loss, with gain, with love, with hate, with life itself, are nothing but shadows, and shadows can be abandoned, even as the sun burns bright within you. Marcus Aurelius would sit with you now, voice low, relentless, echoing through the corridor of your consciousness. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Control your mind. Let go of what you do not control. Attachment is nothing but a phantom you have made real. It is yours to release. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? That pull in your chest, the clamor of your ego, the trembling fear of emptiness that whispers, I need this. I cannot survive without it. This is the battlefield. This is where the Stoic stands, unmoved, unwavering, seeing the truth of the world, not as it flatters, not as it deceives, but as it is, and the truth is brutal. You are not held back by circumstance. You are not imprisoned by others. You are not constrained by fate. You are bound by attachment. And once you see it, once you feel it in every fiber of your being, there is only one path, one terrible, beautiful, liberating path: to release it, to step into the void, to grasp the power that has always been yours, and to stand, find unshackled, in the undeniable, unassailable freedom of your own mind. And so we begin, here, in the darkness that pierces the soul. We begin by facing the shadow of desire, the grip of fear, the illusion of ownership. Epictetus whispers through the ages, if you wish to be free, do not wish for things, do not fear things, do not cling to things. The things you hold are not yours. Seneca, relentless, instructs, let every day be your teacher. Let suffering show you the chains. Let death remind you that attachment is vanity. Let virtue be your only possession, and let nothing else claim your mind. And Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, the philosopher, the man who watched empires crumble and felt the fragility of all things, nods, quietly, imperceptibly, as if he were within you now, saying, look within. There is your empire, there is your freedom, there is your victory. Let go and rise. And here, in this darkness, you feel it, the tremor of possibility, the flicker of understanding, the terrifying promise that your entire life has been waiting for, that your chains are not outside, not in others, not in circumstance, but in the iron clasp of your own attachment. And if you dare, if you summon the courage, if you stare into the void long enough without flinching, you will see it. You will see that nothing is holding you back, nothing but the shadow of your own clinging. And the instant you release it, the weight falls, the mind clears, the heart beats without trembling, and the soul, your soul, steps forward into the only freedom that has ever existed. The freedom you take, the freedom you claim, the freedom you deserve. So I ask you again, in the silence of your chest, in the echo of your thoughts, in the tremor of your being, how heavy is the weight you carry when no one has touched you, yet you feel imprisoned? Can you see the chains now? Can you see the source of your suffering? Can you summon the courage to look, to know, to release, to step into the truth that has always been there, waiting for the moment you choose mastery over attachment? The darkness waits, the truth waits, the mind waits, and freedom waits, patient, eternal, and absolute. Now that you have glimpsed the source of your imprisonment, feel the raw, burning clarity of what lies ahead. The chains of attachment are not simply burdens, they are illusions, built carefully by the mind that fears loss, clings to pleasure, and trembles at the thought of emptiness. And yet, look closer, this fear, this trembling, this incessant reaching toward what is near permanent, is the mirror reflecting the only thing that truly matters, your my. ND, control it, and you are free. Fail, and you wander endlessly in the deserts of distraction, in the shadows of desire, in the labyrinth of your own making. Marcus Aurelius would stand before you now, unyielding, silent, his presence, a weight in the chest, and say, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Your attachment is the impediment, and the act of releasing it is the path. Every moment spent grasping, every thought spent longing, every heartbeat spent resisting the inevitable decay of all things, is a theft of life itself. Consider this. You fear losing what you possess, yet all that you believe is yours is borrowed from time itself. Your comfort, your relationships, your health, your reputation, even your own body, each is transient, fragile, destined to dissolve. Seneca's voice would pierce the shadows around you. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. And so here you stand, poor in the richest of lives, because your mind has been enslaved by attachment, because you have mistaken clinging for ownership, because you have mistaken desire for destiny. The mind that understands this, that sees attachment as the true thief, becomes unbreakable. The heart that embraces this, that lets go, that steps into the emptiness without flinching, becomes untouchable. The soul that refuses to surrender to illusions becomes invincible, and yet the pain is undeniable. The world will strike. The ness you love will betray. The ones you admire will disappoint. The ones you trust will vanish. The body will weaken. The mind will falter. The senses will deceive. All that you think is permanent will crumble. And still, the Stoic stands, unmoved, because the Stoic knows the truth. Nothing external can touch the fortress of the mind that has mastered itself. Epictetus whispers from across the centuries, there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Your attachment is not beyond your will. It is your creation, your choice, your cage. You can shatter it if you dare. You can step through the shadow and see the world not as it deceives, not as it threatens, but as it is momentary, indifferent, and meaningless without your judgment. Feel the tremor in your chest, the tremor that rises from the marrow of your bones, the recognition that your suffering is self-inflicted. Every insult that wounded you, every loss that broke you, every fear that haunted you, every regret that consumed you is merely the reflection of attachment. You gave it life, you fed it, you nurtured it. And now, in the silence of realization, you have the choice to starve it, to release it, to stand unshaken while the world rages. Imagine, for a moment, the freedom of a mind unburdened by clinging, a heart unensnared by fear, a spirit uncorrupted by desire. It is terrifying because it is unfamiliar. It is liberating because it is true. The world will scream for your attention. It will demand, it will pull, it will threaten. The noise of existence is a predator, relentless, omnipresent, seeking to seduce you into distraction, attachment, and weakness. Marcus Aurelius, seated in the quiet of his mind while empires roared, reminds you, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. The harm is not in what the world does, but in what you allow to dwell in your mind. To surrender your thoughts to anger, to cling to insult, to crave what is not, is to hand the key of your freedom to the world. And here, in the darkened corners of your own awareness, you can see it. Every beat of your heart, every breath you draw, is a moment of choice. You can choose to clutch the shadows, or you can choose to release, to step into clarity, to own the sovereignty of your mind. Seneca's voice grows sharper, slicing through the fear. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Every moment you spend anticipating loss, fearing disappointment, dreading failure, is a betrayal of your own life. You have the power to sever these illusions, to discard them like a skin that no longer fits. And when you do, the world remains unchanged, indifferent as ever, but you are transformed. The fortress of your mind stands taller than the mightiest storm. The currents of fate crash harmlessly against the walls of your reason. The fires of desire burn outside, but inside, the flame of clarity burns undiminished, and still, attachment whispers, a serpent coiled around your ribs, do not let go. You cannot endure the void. You are nothing without what you possess. You are fragile. You are weak. Listen to it. Listen carefully. This is fear speaking, masquerading as reality. And here, at the precipice, you must look deeper, beyond the tremor, beyond the lie, beyond the illusion. The mind that knows itself sees the truth. You are not the body, you are not the wealth, you are not the reputation, you are not the comfort, you are the witness. You are the awareness. You are the conscious flame that burns while everything else is borrowed, transient and impermanent. Step into this understanding. Feel the tremor of liberation. The moment you release your attachments, the phantom weight that pressed upon your chest evaporates. The chains of expectation, the prison of desire, the cage of clinging, they were never real. They were yours, and now they can be relinquished. Epictetus, with unyielding calm, would say, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And Seneca would lean close, voice dark, resonant, almost harsh, "Let go, or be broken. There is no other way." Marcus Aurelius watches silently, his eyes heavy with the knowledge of impermanence, of suffering, of fleeting life, and he nods imperceptibly. The obstacle is the path. Your attachments are the obstacle. Walk through them, and you arrive at freedom. Here, now, at this moment, the choice is yours. The void beckons, the shadow trembles, the chains rattle, and the mind awakens. You feel the first quiver of liberation. The breath is lighter, the chest expands, the awareness sharpens, and the soul recognizes what it has always known, that the prison was never real, that the attachments were never binding, that the fear was never truth. And when you finally release, fully, utterly, without hesitation, without regret, without turning back, the world does not change, but you do. You step forward into the clarity that no one can take from you, the sovereignty of your own mind, the freedom that has been yours all along, waiting, patient, eternal. The moment you realize that your chains were never real, that your attachments were phantoms, fleeting shadows crafted by fear, a deeper question arises. What now? What remains when the illusions dissolve, when the craving, the clinging, the endless desire for permanence is stripped away? You feel a void, a space unoccupied, trembling with silence, and it terrifies you because it is unfamiliar. Yet in that void lies the essence of what the Stoics sought, what Marcus Aurelius wrote of in the quiet of his chambers, what Epictetus demanded in the stern cadence of his teaching, and what Seneca illuminated in the harsh light of mortality, clarity, sovereignty, freedom. Your mind, once a battlefield, now becomes a temple, a crucible, a mirror reflecting only what is eternal and true, your own reason, your own choice, your own presence in the world. Without surrender, attachment had promised you security. It had whispered that without it you would crumble, that the world would consume you, that chaos would tear you apart. And now, in the stark exposure of the truth, you understand that attachment was never protection, it was prison. Every comfort you clung to, every success you hoarded, every relationship you idealized, every object you coveted, all of it was temporary, indifferent, meaningless, without the mind that judges. Marcus Aurelius would have you look at the world as it is, impermanent, relentless, neutral, and recognize the exquisite power in this awareness. The emperor knew the fleeting nature of empires, the decay of all things, the inevitability of death. And yet he wrote, not despair but discipline, not surrender but clarity, not fear but mastery. To step free is to confront pain without fleeing, to face loss without collapse, to endure betrayal without clinging to resentment. It is to walk through the fire and emerge unscarred because the flame touches only what is transient, only what is imagined, only what is not you. Epictetus's voice echoes now, steady and uncompromising. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The mind that is free, the mind that chooses, the mind that masters itself, this is the only thing invincible in the face of the world. You feel the tremor again, deep in the marrow, where fear once nested, where desire once coiled. It is the first pulse of understanding. Freedom is not given, it is claimed. It is not inherited, it is earned. It is not outside, it is within. The attachments you carried, the relentless obsession with status, the desperate desire for approval, the hunger for comfort, the terror of loss were chains only because you allowed them to be. Seneca would confront you, unflinching. We are always seeking to be elsewhere, to hold more, to fear less. But we are never present, never still, never free. Only the mind that renounces these phantoms can taste eternity in each fleeting moment. And so you stand at the edge of this abyss, staring into the quiet emptiness, the unclaimed space within, and you begin to understand that what frightens you is not the world, not loss, not chaos, but your own imagination, your own craving, your own surrender. Step forward now, step into the void. Let your mind be stripped bare. Let your soul be unburdened. Let your heart beat without grasping. The world will not wait for your courage. It will rage indifferent, relentless, unyielding. And this is precisely why mastery is necessary, to be unshaken in the storm, to see clearly in the darkness, to walk unafraid among illusions, knowing that they are nothing and you are everything. Marcus Aurelius would remind you, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The strength is not in holding, it is in releasing. The power is not in possession, it is sovereignty. The victory is not over the world, it is over the self, over the shadows you have nurtured, over the chains you have allowed to bind you. Attachment is a voice, seductive and persistent, whispering that security exists, that permanence is possible, that comfort is worth surrendering, freedom. It is the greatest enemy because it masquerades as a lie, it tempts as love, it promises as truth, and yet it delivers only suffering. You feel it now, clawing at the edges of your awareness, and you know the fight has only just begun. The Stoic does not seek to destroy the world, to punish circumstance, to dominate others. The Stoic seeks one thing, mastery of self, clarity of mind, purity of judgment, and freedom from the illusion that would seduce the heart and enslave the soul. In this moment, recognize the subtlety of attachment. It is not always desire for more, but fear of less. It is not always longing, but resistance. It is not always craving, but avoidance. The Stoic mind observes without judgment, discerns without fear, and relinquishes without regret. Epictetus would sit beside you, voice quiet, unwavering, a hammer against the illusion. You are not disturbed by things, but by the views you take of them. Let go of the view, and you are free. The liberation is terrifying because it exposes the raw, naked self, the mind in its purest form, the soul in its unclaimed state, the awareness untouched by attachment. And now, as the shadows of clinging begin to dissipate, as the tremor of fear diminishes, you can see the landscape of your own mind. The territories once conquered by desire, by fear, by longing, now open, clear, boundless. Seneca would whisper from the past, a voice both gentle and merciless. He is a wise man who does not grieve for what he lacks, but rejoices in what he can command, his mind, his reason, his freedom. And here you are, trembling, unsure, standing on the precipice of your own liberation. The path forward is narrow, and the journey is solitary, but it is yours. The shadows still linger at the edges, the world still presses in, the memories of attachment still whisper. Yet, with each step, with each deliberate breath, with each refusal to surrender, you grow stronger, sharper, clearer, freer. The Stoic path does not promise comfort. It does not promise ease. It does not promise the warmth of fleeting pleasure or the absence of suffering. It promises only clarity, only sovereignty, only mastery. Marcus Aurelius, sitting in the silence of his empire, reminds you, reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. The injury, the suffering, the disturbance, the weight, they are all constructs of attachment. Remove the desire, relinquish the clinging, release the illusion, and the mind stands untouched, unbroken, invincible. Look now at yourself. In this reflection, the trembling heart, the fearful mind, the desperate, clinging all once chains, now recognized, now seen, now exposed. And for the furs, time, perhaps, you feel the glimmer of freedom, not the freedom promised by the world, but the freedom that is claimed, the freedom that is fought for, the freedom that exists because you will it. The attachments that once bound you are shadows, the fear that once consumed you is smoke, the chains that once choked you are dust. And in the quiet, in the terrible, liberating silence, you understand the truth that the Stoics have whispered across millennia. Nothing holds you back, nothing, except the illusions you refuse to release. And now, as you stand at the edge of understanding, a new weight presses upon you, not the chains of attachment, but the responsibility of freedom. Freedom is not a gift, it is an awakening, a burden, a demand. It is not quiet or gentle, it does not whisper promises of comfort. It shouts in the silence, it trembles in your chest. It pierces the illusions you have nurtured for a lifetime. Marcus Aurelius would lean close, the weight of 1,000 battles, and the silence of 1,000 nights in his eyes, and he would say, waste no more time on what is not yours to command. Let the world do as it will. Master your mind. Let go of the illusion that binds you. And here you are, confronted with a terrifying clarity. The chains were never real, the prison was self-forged. And now the void stretches before you, immense, unclaimed, both terrifying and liberating. Attachment lingers in subtle forms. Not every chain is iron. Not every cage is visible. Some are wrapped in desire, some in fear, some in expectation, some in memory. Seneca would watch you wrestle with this. A shadow among shadows, voice calm yet relentless. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Your mind, once fertile ground for illusion, becomes a battlefield of perception, a crucible of truth. Every thought that rises, anger, regret, longing, fear, is a test. Every impulse to cling is an invitation to weakness. And yet, the Stoic does not resist life itself. The Stoic does not flee the world. The Stoic observes, discerns, chooses, and releases. This is the difference between captivity and sovereignty, between suffering and freedom. Look at the world around you. It is indifferent, brutal, fleeting. People stumble, crave, fight, despair, cling. Empires rise and crumble. Bodies weaken, affections fade, wealth vanishes. Praise turns to condemnation. Death waits patiently for all. And you, who once feared loss, now see clearly that the only loss is in surrendering to illusions, in clinging to shadows, in letting the mind and heart be enslaved. Epictetus' words echo through the void. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. What is beyond your power? Everything outside the mind. What is within your power? Everything the mind can command. And here lies the terror and the liberation. The mind can command everything it chooses to master. The journey through detachment is brutal because it exposes all weakness. Every thought, every fear, every regret, Every longing surfaces like a storm from the depths, and you feel it, the tremor in your chest, the heat in your veins, the instinct to flee, to clutch, to scream against the void. But the Stoic does not flee. The Stoic meets the storm, unmoving, unwavering, and observes with ruthless clarity. Marcus Aurelius, seated in the shadows of his chambers, whispers through time, "You have power over your mind. Realize this, and all else falls away." And slowly, painfully, inevitably, you recognize that every trembling impulse, every wave of desire, every flicker of fear is a shadow, a phantom, a test. To release is not to abandon life, it is to enter life fully, unafraid, unbound, sovereign. Seneca would press further, a voice both gentle and merciless. He is rich who desires nothing. He is free who owns nothing. He is strong who bends to nothing outside of virtue. Your attachments, comfort, security, love, prestige, habit, memory are the invisible weights that prevent this strength. You feel them, writhing within your chest, whispering lies, tempting you to clutch one more, to hold one longer, to fear one loss more. And yet, the mind that masters itself sees clearly. Nothing outside your reason can bind you. Nothing outside your choice can touch you. Nothing outside your judgment can claim you. And so, in the terrifying silence of truth, you begin to uncoil, to rise, to stand beyond the shadow, to claim sovereignty over the mind that was always yours to command. Attachment is subtle. It is seductive. It masquerades as care, as love, as necessity, as desire. It whispers that without the object, the person, the comfort, the outcome, you will crumble. And for years you believed it. You believed that holding was survival, that grasping was life, that fear of loss was reason. And now you feel the exquisite terror of realization. All along, the only thing that held you back was yourself. Every limitation, every suffering, every longing, every despair, it originated in the mind that clings. To master this is not easy. To release is not gentle. To see clearly, unflinchingly, without comfort, without illusion is. To walk a path few dare to tread, a path forged in the silence of reason, the fire of awareness, and the discipline of self. Epictetus would not soften this. His voice, quiet, firm, relentless, pierces the shadows. If you wish to be free, do not wish for things, do not fear things, do not cling to things. What you hold is never yours. Let go, and you will possess all. And so you feel it, trembling at first, then with clarity the mind can be still. The heart can be steady, the soul can rise unshaken. The chains of craving, the cages of fear, the shadows of attachment, all of them evaporate in the light of this awareness. What once seemed unbearable, the emptiness, the release, the void, becomes the threshold to mastery. To step across is terrifying. To step across is liberation. To step across is inevitable for the one who chooses truth over illusion, reason over clinging, sovereignty over surrender. Marcus Aurelius would now stand beside you, the weight of history heavy in his gaze, and whisper, "Do not let your life slip away in clinging, in fear, in desire. Waste not a day on what is beyond you. Waste not a thought on what you cannot hold. Waste not a moment on illusions. The mind that masters itself is free. The heart that commands itself is whole. The soul that releases is untouchable." And in that quiet you feel the tremor of understanding ripple through your being. Freedom is not gentle. Freedom is not soft. Freedom is not a gift. It is earned in the terrible, brilliant, unflinching confrontation with attachment, fear, desire. Here, in this crucible of awareness, you begin to see yourself as you are, stripped of illusions, stripped of clinging, stripped of the desperate desire for permanence. And for the first time, perhaps, you feel the true weight of life, not the burdens you imagined, not the fears you fostered, not the desires you nourished, but the radiant, terrifying clarity of the mind that is free, because it no longer surrenders, no longer clings, no longer fears. Seneca's words echo across the void. No man is free who is not master of himself. And you, trembling, fearful, radiant, awake, take the first steps toward mastery, knowing that the path will demand all your courage, all your discipline, all your awareness, but will reward you with something no fortune, no fame, no pleasure, no comfort can ever give: sovereignty over your mind, and the freedom that was always yours to claim. And now, as you stand at the edge of comprehension, the truth presses harder. Freedom is not passive, it is active. relentless, merciless in its demand for vigilance. The world will not pause for your awakening. It will rage, indifferent, chaotic, deaf to your newfound clarity. Attachment will rise again, subtle, seductive, masquerading as care, desire, necessity, even love. It will whisper, it will gnaw, it will tempt, it will trick. And yet, the Stoic does not flinch. Marcus Aurelius would speak softly, almost a shadow beside your trembling. Awareness, reject your sense of injury, and the injury itself disappears. Let the world do as it will, and you will remain unshaken. Here lies the paradox that shakes you. The external is never what binds you. The external is never what chains you. The chains were always inside, forged by your own fear, by your own clinging, by your own surrender. Feel the tremor in your chest, the echo of desire, the pulse of longing, the shadow of fear, and recognize it for what it is, phantom. The mind that masters itself sees through it. Epictetus, in his quiet, relentless voice, would say the essence of freedom is not in possession, but in self-command. What you can control is all you need. What you cannot control is nothing. Imagine, for a moment, a mind unshackled, a heart unclaimed, a soul untethered, walking among the chaos of the world with clarity unbroken, reason unshaken, spirit unassailable. Every insult, every loss, every betrayal, every fear, every fleeting pleasure, these are no longer chains. They are nothing. They touch only what you allow them to touch. And the courage to allow nothing but truth, nothing but reason, nothing but mastery is terrifying in its intensity and yet intoxicating in its liberation. Seneca's voice cuts through the trembling shadows. He who is enslaved by attachment is poor, though he may wear crowns. He who is free in mind is rich, though he has nothing. And you feel it, the first pulse of genuine wealth, not in gold, not in praise, not in love, not in comfort, but in the sovereignty of the mind, in the calm of the heart, in the power to endure without surrender, to see without distortion, to act without fear. The attachments you once nursed, the cravings you once worshipped, the desire you once obeyed, they are now visible, fragile, absurd. And the clarity that comes with their recognition is like a blade through fog, like a storm in the night that clears the air, leaving only the skeletal, uncompromising truth. You are free because you have nothing to fear, nothing to clutch, nothing to lose, and yet the struggle is relentless. The flesh resists, the instincts roar, the memory of clinging reaches for you, whispers of comfort, urges of craving, tremors of insecurity. Marcus Aurelius would whisper, the weight of empires in his words, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in your way becomes your path. The impediment is attachment itself. To face it, to confront it, to release it fully, utterly, without hesitation, is to step into mastery. And mastery is not easy. Mastery is not soft. Mastery does not forgive weakness. It demands presence, discipline, clarity, courage, endurance. Attachment is everywhere. It resides in the desire for praise, the fear of judgment, the obsession with control, the longing for permanence, the craving for pleasure, the resistance to pain, the refusal to accept mortality. And yet, it is all within you. It is all a reflection of the mind that has forgotten its power, of the heart that has surrendered its sovereignty, of the soul that has feared emptiness. Epictetus would not flinch from this. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. Let go of the view, and you are free. You feel it, the tremor of recognition, the first quiver of liberation. The mind that observes without clinging, the heart that endures without attachment, the soul that moves without fear. This is not philosophy. This is survival. This is life. This is mastery. Seneca, ever merciless, whispers again, we are more often frightened than hurt. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Every craving, every fear, every shadow that rises within you is a phantom of your own imagination. And now, with the awareness blazing like fire through the corridors of your mind, you see the truth. Attachment is the only prison, the only suffering, the only impediment. And the freedom you have glimpsed, the terrifying, luminous freedom, is yours if you claim it. Not tomorrow, not when the world changes, not when others relent. Now, here, in the crucible of thought, in the fire of awareness, in the silence of self-command, and still the world will scream for your attention. It will demand, it will seduce, it will strike. The bodies of those around you will falter. The desires of others will press upon you, the chaos of circumstance will rage, and you will feel it, the pull of old chains, the whisper of old attachments. Marcus Aurelius would not soften this truth. You have power over your mind. Realize this, and you will find strength. And it is here, in this relentless tension, this exquisite terror, this raw clarity, that mastery is forged. To release attachment is not to escape the world. It is to see it clearly, to endure it fully, to act without fear, without craving, without surrender. Attachment is seductive, persistent, insidious. It masquerades as love, as necessity, as morality, as care. It whispers that without it, you will falter, crumble, perish. And yet, you feel the pulse of something else, the truth, hard and cold and undeniable, that nothing outside your mind can bind you. Your freedom is always present. Your sovereignty is always yours. Your clarity is waiting, patient, eternal, untouched. And the courage to claim it, to live it, to breathe it, is the path of the Stoic. Epictetus would lean close, voice quiet but implacable. No man is free who is not master of himself. Seneca would add, relentless, let go or be broken. There is no other way. And Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who watched empires crumble and the world decay, whispers finally, the obstacle is the path. The chains are yours to release. Walk through them, and you arrive at freedom. And now you feel it, the pulse, the tremor, the first light of sovereignty. The chains rattle, the shadows tremble, the phantom weight lifts, the mind that once faltered begins to stand. The heart that once clung begins to endure. The soul that once feared begins to rise. And in the quiet, in the terrible, liberating silence, you realize the immutable truth of Stoicism. Nothing holds you back. Nothing except your attachment. And the moment you release, fully, without hesitation, without regret, without fear, the world remains indifferent, but you are transformed, free, sovereign, master of yourself. Marcus Aurelius would lean close, the echo of empire and mortality in his voice, and say, waste no more time on what is beyond you. Master your mind, and all else is trivial. And here is the terror you must confront. The chains you release are replaced immediately by the test of vigilance. The world has not changed. The storms have not vanished. The shadows of desire, fear, and ego have not disappeared. They wait, they watch, they tempt. And your mind, your sovereign, must remain unyielding, unbroken, untouchable. Attachment is never just desire. It is fear masquerading as necessity. It is craving dressed in reason. It is ego dressed as morality. Seneca's voice would slice through the tremor in your chest. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. And now, stripped of illusion, stripped of comfort, stripped of the familiar anchors you once clung to, you recognize the unflinching truth. Poverty is not in loss, but in attachment. Weakness is not in circumstance, but in surrender. Fear is not in danger, but in the mind that trembles. And here, in the terrible, luminous silence of recognition, the first flicker of true strength emerges, the realization that you have always possessed what you sought: mastery, clarity, freedom, sovereignty. You feel the tremor in your chest, a shiver of anticipation and dread, because you understand. And the battlefield ahead, it is not the world that must be conquered, it is not others who must be defeated. It is not fortune, circumstance, or fate. It is yourself, the restless mind, the trembling heart, the clinging soul, the ego that whispers lies at every turn. Epictetus' words strike like flint. No man is free who is not master of himself. The mastery is not gentle. It does not grant comfort. It does not forgive weakness. It demands presence, relentless observation, discipline without compromise, endurance without respite. To confront attachment fully is to confront fear, ego, pain, and mortality itself, and to endure without surrender. And yet, the struggle is intoxicating, for, in the furnace of self-confrontation, clarity arises. In the crucible of suffering, sovereignty emerges. In the shadow of fear, the mind discovers its invulnerability. Marcus Aurelius would whisper in your ear, voice heavy with centuries of observation, the impediment to action advances action. The obstacle becomes the path. Attachment is the obstacle. Desire is the obstruction. Fear is the barrier, and stepping through them is not optional. It is inevitable for those who seek mastery. The mind that refuses to flinch, the heart that refuses to clutch, the soul that refuses to fear, this is the only path to freedom that endures beyond the illusions of the world. Seneca would press further, a voice both merciless and calm. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. He is rich who desire nothing. He is free who owns nothing. The attachments you once worshipped, the comforts you once cradled, the fears you once obeyed, they are shadows, they are phantoms, they are illusions that tremble at the light of reason. And now, for the first time, perhaps, you feel the raw exhilaration of liberation, the terror, and the clarity interwoven like steel and flame, because you understand the full depth of what was holding you back. Not the world, not circumstance, not fate, but the relentless, insidious, invisible weight of your own attachment. And here is the final unyielding truth. Release is not a one-time act. It is a constant. The mind that masters itself must remain vigilant. The heart that endures must remain unclaimed. The soul that rises must remain untethered. Attachment is subtle, seductive, persistent. It will return in the guise of comfort, in the guise of love, in the guise of necessity, in the guise of morality, in the guise of fear. And each time it rises, each time it claws at the edges of awareness, each time it whispers, the Stoic confronts it, names it, sees it for what it is, and steps forward without surrender. Epictetus would say, there is only one way to happiness. Cease worrying about things beyond your control, and master the things within your control. Everything else is nothing. Look now at your trembling mind, your restless heart, your trembling soul, and see them as they are, not broken, not weak, not lost. They are the instruments of sovereignty, identity, waiting to be wielded, waiting to command, waiting to endure. Marcus Aurelius would speak with calm authority. You have power over your mind. Realize this, and strength follows. Realize this, and suffering loses its grip. Realize this, and freedom is immediate. And it is immediate. It does not wait. It does not hesitate. It does not beg for permission. The chains of attachment dissolve in recognition. The shadows of craving vanish in clarity. The tremors of fear fade in sovereignty. What remains is not comfort. It is not ease. It is not indulgence. It is presence. It is awareness. It is mastery. Attachment will tempt again. Desire will rise, ego will whisper, fear will press, and the Stoic does not flinch. The Stoic observes, the Stoic discerns, the Stoic acts without surrender. Seneca, relentless, would remind you, the mind that is free suffers nothing it cannot endure. The heart that commands itself is never wounded. The soul that refuses illusion is untouchable. You feel the tremor of this truth ripple through you, the exhilarating terror of sovereignty. The clarity is piercing. The freedom is absolute. The mind that was once chained now stands like an unassailable fortress. The heart that once clung now beats unclaimed. The soul that once feared now rises unshaken, untethered, eternal, and so you take the first deliberate step into the relentless discipline of mastery. Attachment will arise. The world will rage. Fear will surge. Desire will call, but the mind observes, the heart endures, the soul rises. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, three voices across centuries converge upon your awareness, saying the same thing with unflinching clarity. The obstacle is within, the prison is within, the chains are within. Release them, master yourself, stand unshaken, step into freedom, and know with all the terror and clarity of existence that nothing holds you back, nothing except your attachment. Everything you have seen, felt, and endured leads to this moment, the terrifying, luminous clarity that freedom is not outside, it is not granted, it is not bestowed. Freedom is claimed. Freedom is wrested from the shadows of attachment, from the tremors of desire, from the illusions of permanence. Marcus Aurelius would lean into the silence of your awareness, the weight of his empire heavy in his gaze, and say, look within. There is your fortress, there is your sovereignty, there is your victory. No one can touch it, no one can steal it, no one can weaken it. It is yours. Claim it. Attachment, fear, ego, they rise now with a ferocity unmatched, their voices clamoring, echoing, screaming that you cannot endure, that you are weak, that you are not enough. You hear them, feel them, tremble at their weight. The Stoic does not flee. The Stoic meets them with the calm of centuries, with the precision of reason, with the discipline of awareness. Epictetus' voice cuts through the chaos, steady, unyielding. Men are disturbed not by ings, but by the views they take of them. Free yourself from the view and you are free. No suffering exists beyond that which you create in the mind. And now, as you tremble, as the shadows writhe, as your chest pounds with the echoes of past fear, you see the final truth. You were never trapped. You were never powerless. You were never defeated. The chains existed only in your willingness to hold them. The mind that masters itself is a fortress built on clarity, unshaken by the storms of desire or the tempests of loss. The heart that commands itself is a citadel of endurance, untouched by betrayal, untouched by longing, untouched by regret. The soul that rises above attachment is invincible, untouchable, eternal, because it knows no craving, fears nothing, desires nothing outside itself. Seneca would whisper, his voice cold, merciless, and incandescent, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The body dies, fortune falters, the world collapses. Only the mind, disciplined, aware, sovereign, remains. And you feel it, the tremor of awareness, the pulse of power, the tremor of liberation. Every phantom of fear collapses, every shadow of attachment shatters, every whisper of doubt fades into the silence of reason. And yet, this liberation is not gentle, it is not easy, it is not soft. It is a storm, relentless, vivid, blinding, and you are at its eye. You see clearly the life you have wasted in clinging, in fear, in longing, in surrender. You see the illusions you have worshipped, the phantoms you have obeyed, the chains you have nurtured, and the pain of recognition cuts deeper than any external wound, because it is truth, because it is undeniable, because it demands action. To turn away, to retreat, to cling once more to the shadows is to betray yourself. To face it, to endure it, to release is to rise. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, they are not guides, they are mirrors reflecting the stark, uncompromising path mastery is. Lonely, mastery is hard, mastery is terrifying, and mastery is everything. Attachment will whisper until your final breath. Ego will scream until your final thought. Fear will claw until your final heartbeat. And here, now, standing unflinching, you see the choice: succumb, and the world devours you; release, and the world passes, irrelevant, impotent, indifferent, while you stand sovereign, free, invincible. The Stoic does not resist reality. The Stoic does not hope for comfort. The Stoic does not flee pain. The Stoic observes, discerns, chooses, commands. Epictetus would whisper, "It is not what happens that matters, but how you judge it. Judge rightly, and you are free. Judge falsely, and you remain a prisoner." And here you are, trembling in the intensity of this confrontation, facing the last phantom, the last illusion, the last attachment. And you know the mind, the heart, the soul all converge in one moment of choice. Do you hold, or do you release? Do you cling, or do you rise? Do you surrender to fear, or do you command yourself? Seneca's voice, cold and merciless, echoes through the corridors of your consciousness. Let go, or be broken. There is no middle path. There is no compromise, there is no comfort, only freedom or the shadows. The shadows claw at your chest, the illusions press against your mind, the tremor threatens your resolve. And yet, the light of reason burns brighter than all phantom chains, brighter than all trembling desire, brighter than all fear. Marcus Aurelius whispers finally, the impediment is the path. Walk it and you are free. And so you step forward, trembling but unbroken, terrified yet resolute, into the clarity that pierces every shadow. You release what you once clung to. You abandon the illusions you once nurtured. You confront the fear you once obeyed. And in that terrible, brilliant, liberating act you are unbound. The mind that was captive is sovereign. The heart that was trembling is steady. The soul that was fearful rises unshaken. Nothing outside can claim you. Nothing outside can bind you. Nothing outside can harm you. You are free. You are whole. You are invincible. And now, in this silence, in this clarity, in this unflinching sovereignty, the Stoic truth crystallizes. Nothing is holding you back. Nothing ever has been. The weight you carried, the chains you obeyed, the suffering you endured, It was all born of attachment, and attachment is an illusion. The moment you release, the moment you command your mind, the moment you cease to surrender to shadows, you step into power, into freedom, into life itself. And in that moment, the Stoics whisper across time, mastery is yours. Sovereignty is yours. Freedom is yours. You are no longer a prisoner. You are no longer bound. You are alive, unbroken, and utterly free. The world continues in its chaos, indifferent, brutal, fleeting, but you, yes, you stand apart. The mind that once quivered in fear, the heart that once clutched desperately, the soul that once trembled under the weight of desire, now rises unbroken, unshaken, sovereign. The chains of attachment dissolve like smoke in the wind. The illusions that once enslaved you crumble into dust. The fear that once consumed you vanishes into the void, and what remains is you, stripped of all pretense, all longing, all surrender, and yet more alive, more present, more powerful than you have ever known. Marcus Aurelius whispers through the corridors of your awareness, steady, relentless, weighty with the authority of centuries. Waste no longer a day on what is not yours to command. The world does as it will. Master yourself. Release what is false. Embrace what is eternal. You feel it, the tremor of recognition, the pulse of sovereignty, the radiant, terrible clarity that the only prison you ever faced existed within your own mind, and the only liberation you ever sought was already there, waiting, patient, eternal, untouched. Epictetus would stand beside you in silence, voice quiet but uncompromising, cutting through the residue of old clinging. No man is free who is not master of himself. Every thought you command, every desire you release, every fear you abandon is a step into freedom. No one can give it to you. No one can take it from you. It is yours, always, if you choose to claim it. Attachment will never relent completely. It will return like shadows at dusk, like echoes in an empty hall, whispering temptations, stirring old fears, urging old cravings, and yet, now the Stoic within you does not yield. The mind observes without clinging, the heart endures without trembling, the soul rises above fear without hesitation. Seneca's voice pierces the stillness, cold, precise, unforgettable. Let go or be broken. There is no middle path. There is no compromise. The world demands nothing of you, yet you demand of yourself. That demand is your power. That demand is your freedom. That demand is everything. And here you are, trembling with the intensity of it, the terror and the brilliance, the clarity and the responsibility, standing not at the edge, but within the center of something eternal. The sovereignty of your own mind, the mastery of your own heart, the invincibility of your own soul. Feel it now, the pulse of freedom coursing through every fiber of your being. Feel the tremor in your chest, the heat in your veins, the expansion of the mind as it sheds the weight of illusions, the fear, the clinging. Every phantom of desire collapses. Every shadow of fear dissipates. Every echo of attachment fades into nothing. And in that space, terrifying, luminous, radiant, you understand the immutable truth that the Stoics have been whispering for centuries. Nothing holds you back. Nothing ever has. The chains, the prisons, the suffering, the limitations, they were never real. They were born of your surrender, of your willingness to obey the phantoms, of your insistence on clinging to shadows. Release, and you are free. Release, and you are sovereign. Release, and you are alive in a way the world has never touched. The call to act is now. Not tomorrow, not when the moment is convenient, not when fear subsides, but now. Take the clarity, take the sovereignty, take the mastery that is yours. Step forward fully, completely unflinching, into the truth of your own mind, the strength of your own heart, the freedom of your own soul. Epictetus would demand it of you. If you wish to be free, claim it. If you wish to master yourself, do it. If you desire life without suffering, start within. The path is yours. The obstacle is yours. The liberation is yours. And Seneca would add, relentless, unforgettable, you are alive only in the measure that you command yourself. Waste no breath, waste no thought, waste no moment on the illusions that bind you. Step into freedom, or remain a prisoner of your own making. And finally, Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, the philosopher, the witness of empires, whispers the truth that will echo for the rest of your life. The impediment is the path. The chains are yours to release. Walk through them, and you arrive at freedom. This is not a promise, this is not a theory. This is the unavoidable, uncompromising law of your own mind. The moment is yours, the power is yours, the clarity is yours, the freedom is yours. Step forward, unshaken, unbroken, untethered, and embrace the life that exists beyond attachment, beyond fear, beyond the trembling shadows of desire. Nothing holds you back, nothing ever has. The world cannot bind you, the flesh cannot imprison you. The chaos cannot destroy you. The only obstacle, the only chains have always been within you. And now, here, now, in the terrible, luminous brilliance of truth, you release them. You release the clinging, the craving, the fear, the ego, the attachment, the illusions. You step into sovereignty. You step into mastery. You step into life itself. And in that moment, you hear the final, eternal voice of the Stoics echoing through every fiber of your being. Rise, release, master yourself, and claim the freedom that is yours. Stoicism Notebook.